Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at the Dragon board by Qualcomm at the moment. Yeah, it's a little reversed, it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is the back of it right here. And then when you actually first get the board itself, it's going to tell you to make sure that all the switches on the back are off. So if I rotate this, and if we look really close, hold on, give me a second. See if it'll zoom out, zoom in somewhere. These little switches right here on the back are by default set to off. If you look close enough, my camera is not exactly the best thing at the moment, but if you look close enough right about here, if you switch these up, that actually turns them on. Actually, no, sorry. If you switch them down, that turns them on. So by default, they're all off, like step 1 says, at 000. Next, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and plug in the HDMI port, and then we're going to plug in the two USB ports for the controller or the mouse and the keyboard. So let's plug in that HDMI port. Got the HDMI port in. Next, I'm going to plug in my keyboard into USB slot A. And then I'm going to plug in my mouse into USB slot B. Or I could be wrong, this might be A, this might be B. Okay, that's all plugged in. We're not going to be using any micro SD, and we're not going to be using any mini SD. You can go ahead and look at the directions, which come in the box with a full explanation of what each piece actually does. So it says, ensure that all boot switches on the back of the board are set to off. We just checked that. Connect a display to the board using an HDMI cable. Just did that. Connect a keyboard and a mouse to the USB ports on the board. We just did that. And then it says plug in the power supply and Android will start automatically. So let's go ahead. We have our power supply. We're going to go ahead and plug that right on in here. Give it a second. It's not going to start up right away. When I did it the first time, it took me about probably 20 seconds to really get it in, but it looks like since I did it already, it's already plugged in. So notice we don't see it at the moment. It's telling me I still have no signal at the moment. But give it, looks like it's actually starting to turn on or something's happening. There goes my dog. So Android's loading up right now. And if we take a second, notice the screen likes to jump off really fast. So if we want to get the screen up and running, we slide up towards the top. Firefox works fine. If we want to connect to the internet, simply click on the internet settings. You're like, wait, what happened? It doesn't show up. Bluetooth is connected. If I disconnect Bluetooth, the light on the board, actually the blue light goes off. So by default, your Bluetooth won't be connected. This is your geolocation setting, and if you want to connect to your Wi-Fi, which I've already actually set up myself, you'll have to come into the settings, click on Wi-Fi, and then select the network you want to connect to. It works pretty straightforward. Also, if you want to close this out, just like any other Android device, you need to go to the box, and you can either slide off, but I'm having difficulty with that. I recommend click on Clear All, and your apps will work fine and dandy. So there's a rough view of how the Broadcom works, and if you're curious on how to shut this thing down, since my screen is kind of warped, I'm pretty sure there's a better way of doing this, but most phones you have usually a right side, or you can hold down a button, it'll turn it off. For this, simply come over here right up where the first USB port is, and click on the power button, and it'll go ahead and it'll shut that right on off for you.